Welcome to the show. It's deep with the twist. We're laughing through the scriptures where humor coexists. Cultural, come on and take a seat. It's faithful and it's fun wherever it meets feet. Dive into the stories, hear the podcast call. It's Mormon stuff with a smile in the cultural hall.
It is time for another episode of the Cultural Hall. I'm joined by Molly the Ash Ashton. Two chains. So
Yep.
We're not four chains. I don't know if you got to see that video yet of
I heard it. I heard him talking about it. I was laughing so hard. I love it. It's great.
as we chat, you probably have not yet listened to our last episode, but we talked to Chad Taylor, who owns a SOTA, S-O-T-A, SOTA shop in Minnesota. And it was interesting because as I was chatting to him, I was like, you know what? I bet that he and Molly the Ash Ashton have a lot in common. Small-time entrepreneurs, sweets, and all of the things. So we have a discussion about should we be encouragers of sweets or not? And so it's a great discussion. He's a former bishop, and that is the last episode. So if you haven't checked that out, you, the collective you, and you specifically, Molly, make sure you check that one out.
I definitely will. It'll be my gym listening this afternoon. I always listen at the gym. So.
Oh, yeah? Now, question about listening at the gym. I listened to a good portion of General Conference. I did a long run during the morning session. Do you amen in public?
Not usually. No.
No?
Do you?
Yes, I leaned into it so hard.
Nice.
Yeah, almost jokingly so hopefully not like, disrespectful or whatever, but I'm running, I'm just gasping for air because I tried to do like 15 miles. I didn't get there, but just going. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone looks around at me and I'm like, oh, my ears, my headphones.
It's conference.
Yeah.
You're in Utah. They get it.
Yeah. No one questioned. They all knew. They also had said amen. They didn't even hear my amen over theirs.
Yeah, for sure. I believe that.
When you, let me ask you this about that further, not in conference specific. Do you find yourself reacting out loud to podcasts? Are you that person?
Sometimes. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts and I will be gasping like, oh my gosh. And I forget sometimes that I'm at the gym and there's people around me, but I figure we all have headphones on. No one's paying attention to each other anyway.
Sure. But would you ever, like, if you were listening to, say, an articles of news and you're like, I said something, if you can imagine this, if that I said something that was incorrect, would you ever be like, nope, no, yes. Out loud, you'd say that?
I'd be like, no, Richie, nope. Yeah, I totally would.
Okay. Yeah. I like that part of podcasting.
I know. It feels like such an intimate conversation, and yet like we're not actually talking, but
yeah, the big thing, just so you know, because I went to a podcasting conference last week. The big thing, now I'm going to say it incorrectly. Hold on. Is it paranormal? Is that what it's called? Paranormal relationships?
Paranormal?
Paranormal relationships. Nope, it's not paranormal. I'll think of it, but it's like paranormal in that it's one-sided. I can't remember the buzzword. Shoot, it's in my notes. But where, like, if you listen to this show and you're like, oh, yeah, Richie and his wife's name's Jessica and their dog's named Robert and they live in Taylorsville and they do all the things and this and that, right? Then people, when they come up to me, I experience this a little bit because I came from radio as opposed to just into doing a show in podcast form. But you think that you know them really well, and then you engage with them and you say, oh, I don't actually know that person very well. And so it's sort of one-sided, but you feel like you could just come up and be like, oh yeah, hey.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love that.
But I can't think what the buzzword is. Embarrassing. I went to a whole conference for a whole week.
And the one thing you should have gotten out of it, you don't remember.
Well, I got a lot of other
out of it.
Yeah. We're gonna start doing some live shows. We're gonna work up to like come and see the Cultural Hall because we did that very early on, and it was a whole lot of work for a little payoff.
Yeah.
But we're gonna start trying to do some live shows via YouTube, so you can,
That's
be
cool.
like, oh yeah, I can watch. Sure, I'll watch. You bet. I'll
That's
interact
cool.
with that. You bet.
I think a live show with all of your articles of news co-hosts, I mean, that would be really fun though too.
Yeah.
Actually in person. I wonder who would come.
Ooh,
Probably.
if we
Um,
planned it right, we could get everyone.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I can be there anytime.
Yeah.
So
We get you. I'm not worried about you. You're trying. If I was trying to do it at your house, that would be the difficult thing.
that
I
it
need you
would
to
be
be
hard.
home. Yeah. Yeah. It's like I don't go home. Sorry.
That's right.
Uh, but I'm sure we could get like a road trip from the folks, the Wilds and Mr. Mayor up from Texas. They all get in the car
Yep,
and do that. Verlin, all I have to do is say, "Hey, come out." He'd be here. He'd
for
drive the
sure.
truck. That's been sort of fun to follow his adventure.
I have loved that. It's been so fun. And it's funny because I don't watch the YouTubes very often.
Uh-huh.
I did see Berlin with his chains though a few weeks ago. Those were hilarious. He looks a lot like my OB. Like in the pictures, I'm like, oh, he looks just like my doctor. It's so funny now that I
Uh-huh.
have this picture of him being my OB. So it's kind of weird.
Well, that is a little weird.
Yeah.
But I would love to have you. I'd love to have your sister. Admittedly, this is a little embarrassing. I started down the rabbit hole and then time cut me off about the third of the sisters. I started
Oh,
looking into that sister. I
yeah.
don't know why she hasn't insisted on being on an episode yet, so that's whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Maybe.
but
Maybe
but I start
someday.
but I started chasing that down a little bit. We could have old hosts as well. DJ
Yeah.
Rob. We could have Brett.
That would be really fun.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the kind of stuff that you do for live. It's like, hey, you got to watch this. That was another thing that they talked about.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
you'll
fun.
think it's
Chicago.
forward. Yeah.
Do you like Chicago?
I've been one time only for about 8 hours to
Okay.
get a pizza that my husband and I just stopped there on our way home from Ohio and we got some pizza and we went to the zoo and walked around. I loved it. I loved the architecture.
Yep.
It was super fun. So I
Yep.
really, really would like to get back there someday.
Lincoln Park Zoo, I would presume.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
It's
Do you
great.
know which pizza place you went to?
Okay, so it's this pizza place that no, I don't remember what it's called. It's in a
Yep.
tiny little, it used to be a house and it was actually a place where some mobsters used to live.
So
And it was
anywhere in Chicago.
yeah, exactly. It's
Uh,
teeny tiny. It's tiny. And they say to get there, we got there like an hour and a half in advance to get in line.
mhm,
It was something he saw on Instagram. He's like, let's go here sometime. And it's this viral pizza. It's more like a calzone kind of a pizza. Like,
mhm.
anyway, it was really, really good, but I don't remember the name of it. I need to look that up.
Is it like the one that they cook upside down?
Maybe.
Like they
Uh,
cook it almost in like a what do you call it? Like a pot pie, and then you
yes.
flip the pot over, and then you have your yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
It's like a pot pie and they flip it over. Have you
yeah,
had it?
yeah.
Have you seen it? Yeah,
Of course.
it's great. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, of course I have. I was in Chicago among
We're
the
in
monsters.
Chicago. What else do you get to
Hey,
do? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it's great. Chicago's awesome. Was it
uh,
cold when you were there last
yeah, it
week?
was miserable and rainy. I would have liked it to be about 20 degrees warmer, but it was great. I mean, you still go out.
Great. Right.
I took a $20 you'll appreciate this. I took a $20 Uber ride to Jenny's Ice Cream, the fancy
Oh,
Jenny's. They've got a
yes.
couple of the like brick and mortars there.
Yep.
I took a $20 Uber ride to spend $15 on ice cream to spend almost spent $20 to ride back, but I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk until I don't feel like walking anymore, walking back. And
Yeah.
I made it to about $70 ride back. I just was like, I don't feel like walking anymore. I'll just ride back.
Isn't that interesting? I was talking to my husband about this. Like Jenny's ice cream, love that place. It's
Mhm,
amazing. We have a
mhm.
similar place that started in Portland, Oregon called Salt and Straw,
Sure.
which is incredible, so good. Well, the Salt and Straw opened by us a mile down the road a year ago. I've never been there.
Hmm,
And yet every time I would go to Oregon, every time, and we go a
sure.
couple times a year, we gotta go to Salt and Straw, gotta go to Salt and Straw. Because when I'm on vacation, I'm willing to spend $10 on the
Sure.
ice cream but not in my everyday life. And it kind of makes it not special anymore. Like that was the travel thing. That was like people would go to Portland for that ice cream. And
Right.
so totally support you going to Jenny's ice cream and spending $50 for that ice cream between all your Ubers. It's YOLO, right?
Yeah, two things about that. One, I would say capitalism ruins everything.
Yeah.
Uh, and then the second thing about that is I would say the reason why I do it or how I do it, I would say, is we're pretty ridiculous as far as like budget stuff goes in our house.
Yep.
In that, like, I have if it's work related, I get a certain amount of any of the money that I make, a certain percentage goes to that. And that can be I'm buying new speakers. It can be I'm buying a new camera for podcasting. It can be whatever the thing. It's sort of carte blanche, but it can only be spent on that.
Okay.
And once that money is gone, it's gone. I can't be like, oh, I gotta, whatever. And I'm pretty strict about that. And so we also have something like that for vacation. And because we don't take a lot of vacations,
Yep.
we can go, yeah, you know what? This percentage has been stacking up for a while, and I am going to stay in the nicer Airbnb. We
Yeah.
are going to get a convertible because we've just been able to put that on the side, which makes that sound like I'm balling. We literally go on a vacation a year,
Yeah.
and but we do it in a way that it's like, yes, I would like to try that entree, and that entree. Of
Good
course.
for you.
Yep.
Good for you. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And then I
And
don't
you know
feel
what?
guilty about it.
Exactly. You put the money and I'm actually quite frugal as well, though I do a lot of traveling. It's the only way I spend my money, but I'm kind of the same way. And I think when you can then allow yourself to do that because you have the money saved and you're not going into any debt for it, you should just enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny to me because so many people, we'll get off this tangent in a second, but with like the budget stuff, looking at it in a way that it's like it's a spending plan as opposed to a budget, because budget seems restrictive and spending plan seems like that. Like we've got one for all the stuff that we'll do, like house stuff this year. So that can be like the couches that we already got, which are the best investment we've ever made, to any sort of like yard upkeep. And then when that money is gone,
It's gone.
we're not doing anything else this year.
Yep.
Oh, we need a
Yep.
mattress. Well, we'll get it next year.
Next year. Yep. Yep. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Very fun. Yeah.
What's new with you? You've been working, which is odd.
Oh, it's so weird.
Just teasing. You work
I
hard and you also play hard, so let me not give you a hard time.
I do, I do. And I work while I'm on vacation. I'm doing all the behind the scenes stuff. I've been in the stores though every day for the last 2 weeks. I'll be in there almost every day for the next 2 weeks. And I've just had some turnover. We have turnover about twice a year where I just have to get in there and get some new staff in, get them trained. And I like to do all of our training because I know how to do everything perfectly. No, I don't know, but I just like to be in there to make sure that people are well trained so that then I can leave and trust that things are being done how I want them to be done.
Sure.
But it's exhausting. It's very exhausting. It's also exhausting to fix the things that I didn't notice that had been sliding. You know what I mean? And so I've been there, yeah, every day, and it's been fun. I actually really enjoy it. I love the work. There's nothing bad about it. So it's been a good time, but I'm tired. I'm ready for
Sure.
a vacation.
Yeah. The building the relationships too with the people that work. I would imagine it's a lot of younger people. They're not like,
Yeah.
my future is cookies or at
Right.
the crumble, right? They're like, yeah, I'm in school. It's going to help me this. I'm citing that and that getting good quality people in those roles constant.
Yep. It's a constant. And I do have people who've been with me 5 years. I mean,
Sure.
and one of, they'll start with me in high school and then they'll work all through college. And then as they're getting to be finishing college, I'm like, wait, are you actually going to move on from Crumble? You don't want to move on, right?
Hmm.
You don't actually want to be a dentist, right? Like
Yeah.
I have one of my guys right now, he's in dental school and I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. Cookies are so much better.
He's like, I see how many cookies we sell. Being a
Yep.
dentist is the best investment I can
Yeah.
make in myself. And I'll be right next door.
Yep.
I can get a cookie and then come see me.
Yeah, but it's fun. I love my staff. We have great employees and I do love building the relationships. And they know me, like even when I'm not working, I'm still popping in all the time. And so they all know me and I work with them one-on-one. So
That's very cool. And then you mentioned in a couple of weeks you've got a trip somewhere. Where are you going?
we're going to Peru to hike the Inca Trail.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
taking it's my husband and myself, our oldest son and youngest daughter, and then a couple of cousins and brother and sister-in-law. So big, there'll be 10 of us doing it.
Oh my gosh. That's fun.
I'm excited. I'm so excited. I love it. I
You'll
love
have
hiking.
to reach out to Taylor.
I know.
Chain. He'll give you all the lowdown because he's basically a local. He's back now in Utah.
Oh, he's
Future
back.
episode of Articles of News, but he'll tell you what to do and what not to do.
Yeah, I've definitely been wondering if he was still going to be there, so I'll reach out to him for sure.
I would tell you one thing that he reflected to me: don't plan on hurrying. He
Oh,
said he forgets about the difference in culture between Latin America or South American culture and North American culture. We were
yep.
going to do something together. We actually record an episode while he's down there. He's like, "Yeah, I should have plenty of time." And then he's like, "No, we're not.
No.
That's not working. People don't move fastly."
Yeah, I believe that.
And for good reason, right? Enjoy it while you're down there.
Yep.
Uh, I want to. I've got, let's see, maybe one or two things just to kind of share before we get into our articles of news. Anything else about you or with you that I should know about?
Nope, that's it.
Diana emailed us, contact@theculturalhall.com. She says, recently listening to episode 903 with Verlin talking about the first concert that you went to. Do you remember what concert your first concert was, Molly? Did we have this conversation?
We didn't. I heard it on articles of news, and my first concert was MC Hammer.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Oh yeah.
On the Can't Touch This tour?
Can't touch this with the hammer pants, and he was with Paula Abdul, I think was the opener. So it was a
Yeah,
good
it
one.
was.
Yep, yep.
With the sisters, or did you have to go with your parents?
I went with my older sister. So
Okay.
it was us, and then I think one of her friends and one of my friends. I'm maybe 12, 13, and she
Okay.
was like 17.
And this is the black sheep older sister that I don't know, right?
The one you don't know,
Yeah.
yes. I'm definitely the black sheep of us, but you don't know the older one.
For this conversation purposes, you can know that I'm throwing shade on her,
Okay.
the black sheep sister. Anyway, back to the email. Let's get back to it. She says, I love that kind of stuff. Talking about first concerts. Her first concert, Diana's, that is, was Three Dog Night at the Salt Palace back in 1972 or 1973. Was not old enough to drive, so we were dropped off and picked up by parents. It was epic for me and started a lifelong love of live music, rock and roll, and classic rock now. And then she says, in the podcast, and I would say, show, Diana, you know better, you mentioned that a first concert could have been maybe Afterglow, which brought up a fun fact that I will share. Diana goes on. I happen to be married to one member of Afterglow, parentheses, there were two, and my last concert was indeed Afterglow. Technically not a concert, a fireside of sorts performed at the Gunnison Correctional Facility. It's a very interesting experience, to say the least. Afterglow is actually starting their own podcast called Stories and Songs by Afterglow. They're still sharing their music when invited. Anyway, love the podcast. Thanks for keeping me up to date. So I said, can we have an Afterglow reuniting podcast episode? And she said yes. So that is a future episode of the Cultural Hall getting Afterglow. The two of them will join me, and we will chat about the phenomenon that is Afterglow.
That is so cool. I love that.
Yeah, kind of a fun thing.
Yeah.
Kind of a fun thing to be able to do. And then let's see, it seemed like there was one other thing I was going to do. Can't find it. If you have not yet left a review for the Culture Hall, be sure that you do that if you are allowed to do a review wherever you listen to this. And also fun to see people's comments in Spotify. If that's where you're listening, you can comment on the individual episodes, and same with YouTube. So like and subscribe there. When you comment, I'm trying to be better about commenting back, so I would love to see that from you. You, not only Molly, but the collective you. Everyone. But also individually you, Molly, as well. Yeah. When you're not on vacation.
Yeah. Got it.
I won't hold my breath. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll do actual articles of news. Let me take just a moment to tell you all about bestdjinutah.com. That is the website where you can learn all about me. Oh, sure, you probably feel like you know me, but you know me in the Cultural Hall sense. I have a DJ company, now 6 of us strong, great event hosts, MCs, and DJs that can be able to make whatever event you have coming up absolutely spectacular, and hope you will reach out to us. Now you're thinking, well, wait a minute, Richie, I don't live in Utah. Would you travel? Absolutely, I would travel. Would they travel? Absolutely, they would travel. Whatever your event is, doesn't have to be a wedding or a community event. We can do all sorts of things. I can teach you line dancing. I can dance with you. We can do partner dancing. We can do all kinds of things, but we can't do any of it if you don't hit me up. You can go to bestdjinutah.com. You can fill out the form to get more information or get a quote, and then I will get right back to you. Find out why I'm so busy and why sometimes we don't get episodes of the Cultural Hall. It's all because of bestdjinutah.com. mailto.com. Here in the second half of Articles of News, we do actual articles of news. Hit it, Peter.
You can't lose articles of news.
And away we go. How was your general conference experience?
Amazing. It was probably one of my favorites in a long time. And I don't know if it was because I was just more, I don't know, had nothing else going on. In fact, my husband was working both days. My kids were not here on Saturday. So I spent all day Saturday, just me and my dogs by myself, just listening. And I loved it.
Now, are you a listen and do other things? Or were you like, I'm sitting on the couch, got one dog on one side, one on the other, watching it?
Usually I'm a listen and do other things, but I decided not to this time. And maybe that's why I got a little more out of it than I normally do. And maybe why I was enjoying it even more. I just let myself be still and let myself just listen. So I didn't do anything.
Did you have a favorite talk?
Favorite talk? Oh gosh. I had so many.
They're all my favorite. How could I possibly pick? Everyone has a favorite child. Why do we lie?
I don't. I should have actually prepared. I'm looking at my notes right now, trying to remember. I loved the talk. Elder Holland, I loved his talk. I loved Patrick Kieran's talk. Benjamin MZ Ty from Sunday afternoon. I loved his talk. I loved that one actually a lot. I don't know. I'm excited to go back and Sister Runya. I mean, hers, you've probably been hearing from everyone. Hers, I have like 3 pages of notes on. I think I literally wrote down almost every word. I'm like sending things in the group family chat. I'm like, you guys, I can't wait till we can all listen to this again. I mean, she is such an amazing woman. And I think she has such, with things in her own life, she has such a place where she can speak to these things where, her life hasn't been perfect and she has a homosexual child, and I think she lost a child. I just love listening from someone who's so real, who's experiencing the same things a lot of us are. So loved that so much.
What do you think it is? Is it just because she's so relatable? Is it because like she's younger? Like, why do you think it is that she is? Because that is something that has resonated with a lot of people, that particular talk. Is it what she talked about? Is it who she is, how she presented it? Why do you think that made such a difference?
Honestly, it's a little bit of all of it. I do think because she's so relatable. And I think, and younger, I think a lot of times we look at these general authorities or especially female, leaders of the church sometimes, then it's like, oh, they're old ladies in their little suits and whatever.
Sure.
She's different. She's just different. So we're able to see a little bit more of ourselves in her. She seems more real. She seems just not more genuine, but she's very genuine. And I think that the way she was explaining the thing with her hands and just showing that visual, it's like, she's so good. She's so good at what she said. And my daughter, in fact, my 14-year-old, she said this was her favorite conference she's ever been to or listened to. And I asked her why. And she's like, I was so engaged in taking my notes. And I realized that I've been missing out all these years where I'm just sitting there falling asleep, rolling my eyes that mom and dad are making me watch. And she's like, I can't wait to go back and reread these because I have so many notes that I took. And I loved it that she felt that. And I think Sister Renya, like definitely her talk was my daughter's favorite as well. And anyway, I'm glad that we have talks like that.
One of the things that I love that the church has started doing in the last couple of years, I don't know when they actually started doing it, but they have a downloadable PDF that you can do that's like Sister Runya, and she talked about, and it has like a paragraph or two about it. It's like summaries of each of the talks, and so you can print this out. It almost looks like what would I say? Like if you printed out like playing cards almost. It's not like their picture on the front and their stats on the back, anything like that, but it's like picture in the corner and then a little bit about the talk and which session and all that. Super cool, especially if you're like, oh man, who was it that talked about immigration? Who was that?
Yeah.
You can look, see who it is, see who they are, and be able to do that. And there'll be a link for that in the show notes, but you can just get that from the church's website as well. They have it almost immediately up.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm definitely going to print that because, I would love to see that.
There are a few interesting statistics from the April General Conference. We can kind of bounce these back and forth. I'll go milestones, and you can talk about the participation, then we'll go back and forth that way. 25 years in the conference center. Big deal made about that. It was dedicated April 6th of 2000. It was full capacity this year. which it's been off and on because of COVID and everything else. People then having to kind of returning from COVID, and then other times because they don't have the parking, and Temple Square's been kind of, chewed up or whatever. So this is the second time since 2019 that it was at full capacity. Um, and other kind of milestone to note is that we are now only 5 years away from the 200th celebration, 195 years old, the formation of the church. So those are some milestones with this
Yeah.
general conference.
Yeah, it's really cool that conference was on April 6th, the 195th anniversary. I thought that was really, really awesome. 98,397 attendees at Temple Square this last weekend. That is mind-boggling to me that everyone fits there. It's really amazing. Plus millions of others all over the world. There were 32 speakers over 5 sessions. 15 new temples were announced. You've already done your episode with the Pharaoh, so those were really exciting announcements. I have to tell you, really side note, I leaned over to my son before President Nelson started speaking, and I said, I bet they're going to announce one in Flagstaff, Arizona. And he's like, whatever, Mom. And then they announced Flagstaff, Arizona, and he's like,
Mom, how did you know?
that?
Yeah.
I didn't tell him. I had recently listened to the Cultural Hall, and that was the prediction made, because I don't really look at predictions, so I was pretty cool. But also, Greenville, South Carolina was a really cool one, because my sister, her husband is from Greenville. My uncle and aunt live there. We have a lot of family there, so that was really, really exciting for us.
Yeah, and kind of a dark horse as far as temples go.
Really dark horse. I was really shocked. I really thought Mississippi would get one before a second one in South Carolina. So
spring for Mississippi.
Okay, so 1 year from now, let's see.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Fall. Fall for
Okay.
Mississippi. Spring will be the Fillmore Temple, Fillmore, Utah.
Yes, I heard you predict that. Okay. All right, cool.
I just want to keep repeating so that then when people hear it, they go, man, he must know something.
Yeah, he must be really in the know about that.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
I pay 12%, y'all.
I love it that now President Nelson has announced 200 temples. So in the 7 years he's been prophet, 52.4% of the temples have been announced by him. And I just think what a legacy. And I don't know about you, but looking at him sitting there in the afternoon session, I'm like, he looks the same. He's not aging. Like, what is happening? And so it's going to be, I don't know. I love that man so much. And I remember when he became the prophet 7 years ago, I was nervous a little bit.
Sure.
I don't know why, but I have loved him. And it's, anyway, it's been awesome. It was really fun to hear some of the new songs. 7 of the new songs from the hymn book were performed. And of course, the Tabernacle Choir sang in 3 of the sessions. And it was really, really amazing. Really spiritual sessions, I thought.
And the music on point. It always is, but even more so. I felt like really, 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 really well done. And to me, it doesn't seem like the song is a part of the hymnal yet until the until the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square has sung it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, that's a nice song, whatever. Yeah. But when I can go and hear the Tabernacle Choir sing it, I go, oh yeah, that's in our hymn book. That one right there. It's sort of the validation, the proof in the pudding. You walked right past something, and I hope that it's not because of your unpreparedness. 4 talks referencing the parable of the 10 virgins, which I think is in part, certainly because it's been on people's minds. There is that new statue on Temple Square that has 5 of the virgins depicted in this statue, and their lamps and the flame coming from their lamps. So certainly that's been on people's minds. I think that that's probably part of it. But is it because, the end of the world is coming? Probably something with that too. Be prepared.
Probably. Yeah. Yep. I didn't mean to skip over that. I was so excited about the temples. I missed that one.
No, you're fine. I just want to make sure. It was spoken about so much that I've actually considered, and we don't do stuff like this very often in the Cultural Hall, but I have considered doing an episode strictly about the parable of the 10 virgins, finding like a couple religion professors or someone who's written about it in particular, and just being like, what are we missing? Because I feel like it's like, just be prepared and listen to the voice of the brain, and then you're good. There's got to be something more. Can we talk about it?
Great idea.
We'll do that. We might do that.
I do have one note about one talk. I think it was Anderson. Was he the one who spoke about abortion? Maybe. I can't remember.
That sounds correct. But yes, the abortion talk was one where like 2 lines in, he's like, and abortion. And I went, here we go. Let's do it.
I was discussing it with a friend, and we kind of wondered if topics like that maybe should still be saved for the evening session, and the evenings
Mm,
should be more geared towards adults. I know anyone's invited, but I kind of think that was a little bit heavy. And
interesting.
when you're sitting there with your children on a Saturday afternoon, um, it was interesting to me. And I know there are some people who think negative things about the talk. I've discussed this with a few friends, and I didn't see the negativity they did. But I do agree that maybe some of those heavier things should be geared more for the evening session. So just a side note that kind of came up on Saturday with me.
Interesting though, but if the evening session starts to become the resting place for all the heavy stuff, don't you just start to go like, listen, I'm not listening to the heavy, I'm not, I'll do the afternoon and the morning.
You know, it's weird. I kind of like the heavy stuff. The
Sure.
heavy stuff is, I think it's part of my personality. I like true crime. I like things that are heavy. So for me, I'd be like, oh, we're gonna hear all the really, really deep stuff. But you're right. It would definitely probably turn some people away if it was all the heavy, for sure.
What I liked about it, and people were speaking about this that they didn't like this about it, but I liked where a couple of people were like, "Well, this ushered in a discussion about the birds and the bees that I wasn't intending to have today," and
Yeah,
because I'm sure it's like, "Dad, what's abortion?"
right.
All right, well,
Okay.
but I think that as a people, generally speaking, we're conservative enough that we don't have the conversations, and if like kids are hearing about things like pregnancy and abortion for the first time from the pulpit of General Conference, we like,
That's a problem.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
or at very least concerning.
Yes. Yes. Totally agree with you on that.
Yeah. So have the conversation. Well, we'll talk about that much more when you're older, but for right now, it's if someone is having a baby, but then they decide that they're not going to have a baby anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
right. Ah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
let's.
and then we got a new young women or young men's general presidency.
Mhm.
So I've particularly loved President Lund and Wilcox and Nelson. They've been amazing from what I can tell, but we've got new men that have been called, President Farnes, Brother Wonderly, and Brother Dixon, all from Utah. But I have to say one thing that I thought was really interesting. An additional 16 men were called to serve as general authority 70s. And I was looking up each of their bios and kind of reading about them. And it's like, former mission president, stake president, da 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 da. And then we have this man from Germany who is currently the ward activity committee chairperson in his ward.
Mhm.
And I love that. And then one from Canada who is currently a Sunday school leader, teacher, and an activities day leader. And I was like, good for them. They're serving in their ward in whatever calling they're needed to be. And they're not coming from being currently in a stake presidency or, that sort of thing. And
Mhm.
there's regular people who are called to serve in this capacity. And I loved that. I thought that was awesome.
The young men presidency, to your point, I mean, so interesting because the president was an Area 70 in the Utah area. So that's where he comes from, the new
Yeah.
young men's president. Brother Wonderly lives in Alpine and was on the Young Men General Advisory Council. He'd served as a mission president, among other callings. And then Brother Dixon is the Utah South Institute regional director.
Yeah.
And so this is like very, 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 which isn't to say that that can't be great,
Right.
but that's like very inside church. How I would have loved to be like, Mark Rober is the
Yeah.
young men's president. And he's like, guys, we can make science and also talk about conversion. Like, to me, there seems to, like, let's toe the line. I'm not saying let's not toe the line, but let's have one wild card in there that's like, I'm out totally in. And I just
Yeah.
got back from the moon. You
Right.
know?
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
I think totally agree with you. And hopefully we'll get there.
Well, because I think that kids, though I don't know that a kid would ever read the bio, right? Ah, who is this Dixon we're talking about? But I think
Mhm.
that kids have this sixth sense that we don't have, where they just are like, institution guy,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
guy's he's the man, this is the man, and then
Yeah.
they're sort of drawn to the what does that guy do? Oh,
Yeah.
he's faithful, but he's a Olympic skateboarder. Oh my God, whatever the thing is, right?
Yes. That would be amazing. I totally agree with you.
Yeah. Okay. So then let us go to just real quick, Myanmar. This is oof.
Yeah. the earthquake there really devastating, and the church came out and said in a press release that they would offer any help needed to assist those who are suffering from the earthquakes. I didn't realize that over 1,700 people died in that earthquake, and I'm sure even still more that they between that and Thailand, where they have been doing the recovery effort. And what's interesting, though, is that the church website didn't even list the membership numbers for Myanmar. And I didn't have a chance to look to see what our membership is in Myanmar. We have 24,000 members in Thailand, and 4 stakes, 1 temple, but not sure about Myanmar. But I really appreciate that any type of disaster like this, we're right there willing to help and give money and give help wherever it's needed, and that we can support those people in that country.
Would you like to know why that is that the numbers weren't listed in the story?
Yes.
I shall tell you. The exact number of members of the church in Myanmar is not publicly available due to the church's sensitive presence in the country and the restrictions on religious freedom. However, the church has established a second branch in Yangon with at least 60 members, and there are 10 full-time missionaries serving in the country. The church's presence in Myanmar is considered sensitive, and that is why the church does not publish detailed membership statistics for the country, according to Camorra.com, which is one of these bloggers similar to like what Corey does, where they go, where are we? How many people? What do we know? That kind of stuff. So that is a fascinating thing. A lot of those people killed in one particular building. There was like a construction of a particular building, and it just crumbled.
The whole thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Sad.
Awful.
And then
Really.
also on the other side of it, because of all the like faltering with USAID and everything with the current presidency, the church in many cases, like first boots on the ground or like second boots on the ground,
Yep.
because we're mobilized to be able to do it. So it was important before, but even more important now because of the situation that we're currently in under this administration in the United States.
Right. Right. And,
So,
thankfully we have that, we have it in place. We have the humanitarian aid ready to go, and we've got it pretty much figured out. So we're able to help where needed.
I'll take this next story because I thought it was hilarious. It's actually after the fact. So if you wanted some yard help in Topeka, Kansas, it's too late to get on these elders and sisters lists. But the missionaries were talking to the news and saying, hey, listen, we just want to offer free yard services next week, including moving items, painting, yard work. We're not going to force our religion on people. It's a great way for us to talk to people. And if you want to sign up, they gave a phone number or a website where you could say, yes, we would like you to come by. And the promise was that they weren't going to try and preach to you. Now, if you asked questions about it, I assume the approach was, listen, if you ask, I'll tell you, but I'm not just going to be like, well, this church believes that. What do you think about that? Clever? People will take advantage?
I love it. And I hope that they got a lot of response from that. I see on my local Facebook page here down in Arizona, I'll see missionaries post on there, hey, we're just looking to give some service this week. And you kind of get a lot of comments on those. People are like, oh, they're just going to try to push their religion. And then you see people who are members like me who might comment and be like, no, 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 really, they just want to serve. That's why they're there. And I remember when my son was serving his mission and in areas where they were really struggling with tracking.
Where did he serve?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So New Jersey, Delaware as well. And I just kept saying, just go clean up people's yards, just go do yard work. And I remember he told me we're only allowed to do 2 hours of service a week.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, so this makes me nuts. I mean, the whole time here I am, this mom trying to help him find things to do. And he's like, we're only allowed to do 2 hours. I love that these missionaries did this. To me, they should be giving 90% of their time should be just giving service, just out there helping. And of course they're helping, but the actual like doing yard work, they were not allowed to do much of. So I love that they did this. And I think it's a fantastic approach. And I think that's how we build relationships. That's how we're going to bring people to the gospel, is if they know us as just real people and not people trying to shove our religion down their throat. So good for these missionaries. I love it.
The counterpoint to it for me is I can remember there were in a couple of areas, some people that they just knew they could sort of take advantage is probably too aggressive, but they just were like, yeah, we're moving. Elders, you'll be there. And it's like, I mean, we were just there mowing our lawn last week. He
Right.
doesn't want us to talk about religion at all. So there definitely is a balance, and I'm sure that that's where we sort of overcorrected, where it's like 2 hours of service. It's like, okay, you
Yeah.
mean it is more productive for me to knock on a door that no one answers, or some of these other things, than to meet, serve, and be alongside other people? No, but we
Yeah.
have to overcorrect because so many people. Well, yeah, come by. I won't be home, but you're more than welcome to, clean up my trash or whatever the thing is. It's like, no,
Yeah.
that's not the point either.
That's not it. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. And I do understand that we need to have a nice balance, but
I
seems
would hope that there, and I haven't seen it yet, but I would hope that there would be a follow-up from the missionaries, maybe something in the church news or something like that. That's like, we did it. What a
yeah.
disaster. Or we did it. Oh my gosh, it's the highest whatever
Yeah.
rate of the church, whatever.
I know. I sure hope they follow up. That'll be fun to see.
What do you want to do? Where do you want to go next? Where should we go?
I, I would love to talk about the first missionaries in the Central African Republic because
Yes.
this actually kind of blew my mind. I'm not a geography major or anything. I don't totally remember all the countries in Africa, but Africa is there's a huge LDS presence in there. We know that we've got so many temples in Africa. I had no idea that Central African Republic had no missionaries. And in fact, the country has 5 million people and only 281 church members. And it just kind of made me think we've been in there since 1992. So quite a long time. And we've never had missionaries there. But on February 25th of this year, 3 missionaries were finally called to serve and placed there. Two from the Congo, one from Cameroon. And the day that they began their mission, that Sunday marked a huge moment. They went from one branch in the country to now having 3 branches. And it's remarkable to see this missionary work from such a young state, to see it's just beginning right now. And how big can this go? I mean, we've seen in so many countries in Africa that the church is just thriving. And the church members here, this article talked about how the members have been such great missionaries themselves, bringing people to the gospel and having baptisms and whatnot, and how excited they are for them to actually have missionaries now. It's
Yeah.
really, really awesome.
Well, the thing that I'm kind of super embarrassed about, I didn't realize that the name of the country was Central African Republic. Like, I thought that was just like a general geographic area. And I'm like, I swear when I remembered or had to memorize the countries of Africa, I
I
don't remember a Central African Republic. So I actually just tried to deep dive and figure out what it was called when I would have memorized it, and I can't. Not
I was
Yeah.
Yeah. Neither of us are geography majors, clearly, because I had the same thought. And so I'm looking at it on a map. I'm like, okay, it's near Chad and Cameroon. And I know all those places, but never knew the name Central African Republic. So yeah, it's quite interesting. And I hope that the church starts to thrive there and that we're able to bring more into the gospel. Now, it
Yeah.
did say the country went through some downturns through some tumultuous events in 1996 and 2003, and then 2013 and 14. I don't know what those tumultuous events were. I didn't research that, but it sounds like that country's had a rough go. So,
Well, super cool though to see the work
yeah.
rolling out. And we think about, sometimes with social media and the internet and all those things, we just sort of think like everything has already been discovered and invented and all of these things. And then you hear something like this where it's just like, no, this is a whole country with millions of people that missionaries can be able to serve. I
Yeah,
think that's pretty awesome.
I
I'm
do too.
excited to continue to see it come through.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
I want to go here first. We're going to talk about The Chosen, and then I'm going to let you tell me all the things about Mormon wives that I need to know about. Is it Chosen season 6? Is that the news?
That's the news. Season 6 is about to start filming, and they are filming parts of it in Utah, where they've filmed before. And I love that they have this relationship with the LDS Church Motion Picture Studio, and that we've been able to utilize what we have to help such an amazing cause. I mean, The Chosen, there's no better entertainment out there right now, right?
Yeah. The thing that's interesting to me about The Chosen is like, is this the final season? We sort of know how the story ends.
Right.
I haven't watched all the way through season 5, so I don't know like what storylines have already been done. Is this presumed to be the end of the season? Do you know?
I think so. I think so, but I'm like you, I'm not 100% sure, but if I had to bet on it, I would say yes, this is the last one.
Hmm. And then also just kind of as a quick side tangent, it's interesting to me because The Chosen, I think what's unique about it, originally it was like you could watch it and then you could make a donation so that other people could watch it and so on and so forth. That was the model that has sort of borne out. I think it was with season 2 or maybe 3 and beyond, like you can go and be an extra on the set of
Mhm.
Chosen, but you have to pay for that opportunity. And
Totally.
yes, yeah, which okay, great. At some point, and I'm not, saying that this is the point or whatever, but like at some point, like there, and I see this with other things as well. Maybe this is why I wanted to bring it up. But at some point, I feel like it's like, are we making money off of this now? That's fine. Dallas
Yeah.
Jenkins needs to live. The Goshen studios need to be able to have security, people can work, and it's job opportunity and stuff like that. But there seems to me something when we start to get a little over the top around Jesus-y things that makes me uncomfortable.
I I feel you on that. I understand what you're saying. And my hope would be that at least from our side, that the LDS church isn't necessarily profiting. I mean, the people who produce and make The Chosen, they definitely probably are
Sure.
profiting. I mean, it's definitely something. But I understand what you're saying. Like hopefully we're not making the kind of money that, like Mission Impossible is making on a movie
Sure.
or whatever.
Sure.
Hopefully it's very low numbers, but I agree with you. We don't want to be profiting on religious things like this for sure.
Yeah, I recently saw about there is a podcast, an LDS based podcast that they sort of did live events and they're doing these things and I think that's great, man. What a great way to be able to do it. And I saw that they charged money and I was like, great, those things cost money, renting a space and being able to have
Sure.
food for people and all of these things. Sure,
Yeah.
it all costs money. Uh, and they one of the videos I saw they prayed as part of that event and I go I don't know if I'm
Yeah.
paying I don't know that I should be praying that sort
Yeah.
of feels like to me a point where we go this is religious but I'm not
Right.
praying as part of it I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I understand that. And I think you're spot on about that. I don't think it totally makes sense to be praying if we've all paid $90 to get there, get in or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, that's where I
But
think that well-intentioned people we can quickly go from great intentions to it goes a little too much, right?
right,
is
right.
is yeah.
But then you have things like BYU Women's Conference. Like I've been to that a few times. And I had to pay to get in, but it was minimal. I understood that the amount I'm paying is basically to help, keep the electricity on and that sort of thing.
Right, right,
I
right,
think there's
right.
a difference there for sure.
Yeah, if I'm profiting,
Yeah,
maybe that's one thing, or if
right.
I'm profiting, maybe
Yeah,
that's another.
yeah.
Hey,
How much is that profit?
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, tell me what I need to know about the secret lives of Mormon wives. What do I need to know? What have I missed?
Well, first thing, a couple of things we've missed. The big stories have been about Zach and Jen Affleck. They were
Sure.
recently in Las Vegas. And if you remember from season one, there was a whole deal where Jen had gone with the girls to a Chippendales show, and Zach came down, was in Vegas and found out. And she's like, oh, he's going to divorce me if he knows I went to Chippendales. And, it's a big storyline about how he's just so overprotective, controlling, all that sort of stuff. Well, apparently they
Mhm.
were just recently in Vegas and they went to a Chippendales show because she wanted to go and see some of the, I don't know, actors, I don't know what you call them, the Chippendales people there and
Mhm.
say hi to them and introduce Zach to them. So it became a whole thing where I think Zach was on stage with them. They kind of made fun of themselves a little bit. I think they were just kind of like, okay, we realized we were a little bit ridiculous, and he realizes he was a little bit ridiculous. So we're just going to show that we're cool with this and it's fine. So that was interesting. And what's interesting too is it said that it wasn't even filmed for season 2 of the Mormon Wives. It was just them on a little trip, and they decided to go to the Chippendales.
Yeah,
So
but you can guarantee that there was money as part of it, or why would they
yeah,
have posted it, right? Or at very least, the attention from it.
right, right.
I wonder how much of it is, because it seems to me, and maybe this is mischaracterizing something like that, but it seems to me like if I was in therapy with my spouse and we had had a big deal about something and it maybe wasn't a big deal, like maybe the recommendation would be like, hey, why don't you go do the thing and
Yeah,
see that it's not a big thing, or see that it is a big thing and then be able to kind of work your way through that.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know.
sure.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Um, in addition, we're learning that Whitney Levitt and Demi Ingeman have now become friends. Whitney was kind of the villain of the last season, and she and Demi weren't really on good terms, but we're finding out through social media that they've been hanging out a lot more. And in fact, there is an event in June, I believe June 7th at the Venetian. It's
Hmm.
Sin City for Mom Talk, the Unholy Tea. And most of the Mom Talk Mormon Wives ladies are going to be there. However, Demi and Whitney have been left off of any of the promo material.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So this little uh thing has maybe made them connect a little bit. They're both kind of being shunned and not invited, not included in this event. And so now they're probably just best of friends because they can wallow together in their sadness or whatever. Who
So,
knows?
so, Whitney, probably one of the more like mainstream LDS people
Yeah.
of the moms, but Demi certainly not,
No. Mm-mm. Not at all. So,
or at least not portrayed that way. So
right.
maybe an opposites attract, maybe something else happened that we're not aware of, or it could be a transition of faith for either Whitney to be sort of leaving it behind or for Demi to be coming back.
Right, right. I mean, most people are saying they believe it's probably for the plot and to that things are a little suspicious.
Sure.
Like that's a really unusual combination of the two of them.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds in season 2. And we can look forward to season 2, May 15th. We are just over a month away with 20 episodes. Miranda McWhorter, we talked about on a recent Articles of News, is coming to the show. She was one of the original swingers with the Mom Talk. She's saying now she has there's no ill feelings with any of them. And we'll see how that unfolds because that
I have
seems a
no ill
little,
feelings. Can I make some money off this show? Thank you for allowing me to be a part of the show.
yep, yep. You know, it's funny because Whitney had taken a break from the Mom Talk social media at the end of season 1. She was like, I'm leaving Mom Talk. And then it's like, oh, I'm pretty sure money talks at that point,
Yes,
right? Oh, you don't want to come to season 2 and make X number of millions of dollars? Okay, no
sure.
problem. Oh, wait, actually, no, we could use that money. So I don't know. It's all
Yeah,
about the
they
money.
had another kid, of course. Of
Yep.
course. Heck,
Gotta
I'd
fund
join Mom
everything.
Talk if the money was right. Actually, I wouldn't. That sounds terrible. Sounds like the worst.
Anyway, so apparently, Jen and Zach, I think, are going to be a big storyline this season with their marital strife. And he is in medical school right now, supposedly in New York. I think Taylor Frankie Paul was seen trying to maybe make up with Dakota, the father of her last child. But what
Mm.
I've heard is they're completely done. But there is going to be some moments of them trying to work through some things, I think,
Sure.
in season 2.
Yeah, because
Um,
it's the father of her kid.
right,
Yeah,
right. So inevitably he'll be there. He'll be
right,
included
right.
somehow, something. And I bet he wants some money too. I
Yeah,
bet it's a good paycheck for him if he is included in there, especially
yes.
with
And
drama.
especially if he brings it, yeah, exactly. Brings a little drama.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like the buildup to this season 2 has been going on so long because it was
Mhm.
initially going to be released in like February, January. But then when they decided to air it on ABC, they pushed everything a few months. So I'm just like, come on, let's just do it. We have so much buildup. I'm ready.
Are you going to be binging like crazy when it comes out?
Well, most likely, my husband and I are going to be on a trip.
Uh,
on the 15th of May when it's released. And I just have to decide if he'll probably be willing to watch it with me, at least a couple of episodes. I don't think I can do all 20 in one night, but we'll probably do
when do you get back? Because there may very well be a thing in the works. We'll see as to whether or not we may do something far more in depth than we had done previously.
I know we talked about that. Oh, and actually, I just looked at my calendar. It turns out we're leaving a few days after the release. So, but it's just he and I, we're just going to Lake Tahoe to go hiking. So like, I'll have time to do a show.
Okay.
While I'm there. No problem. He might even want to join in. Who knows?
Listen, I welcome it.
Okay.
He and Verlin and I can do an episode.
Yes, you can. And I'm pretty much sure all he'll say is, I roll my eyes about 100 times through that show, but he'll watch it with me. He's such a good sport.
Yes, he's the best.
He is.
That's why we love him. Whatever his husband's name is that I can never remember.
Andy, but you don't have to remember that.
Andy. We love Andy. Yeah. Andy. All right. Apparently someone's at my house, so we're done. Okay. I hope that this episode has nourished and strengthened your body.
And if you weren't able to be here this week, you'll be able to be here next week.
And when the time comes, you'll be able to travel home in safety. In the meantime, Chris at Alpine Lakes Travel, Debbie Wanless, Chocolate Cake Bites Podcast, and the Tiger with a U will be saving a seat for you
on the back row
of the Cultural Hall.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat on the back row. We really gotta go on the Cultural Hall show.